Hi, my name is Irene Latham, and we're here at the Birmingham Zoo to talk about my new novel, Don't Feed the Boy, which is set at a fictional zoo that was modeled after this one. Before I tell you anything else, I want to let you know that I grew up with 3 brothers and a sister whom I adore, and I am currently raising with my husband 3 sons. So writing about a zoo is not that much of a stretch for me. Also, I have a history here at this zoo. Back in the day, I volunteered in the Teen Volunteer Program. It involved a lot of training where we sat in a classroom and learned all sorts of facts about the animals before we ever even were able to touch any of the animals. I thought for a while that I might like to be a zoo veterinarian. I even wrote that in my Dr. Seuss, my book about me, a veterinarian. That's what I would like to be. But I witnessed one surgery and I changed my mind. I decided I better just write about the animals instead. Here we are at the picnic pavilion. This is where, after weeks of just watching her, Whit finally talks to the bird girl. He calls her the bird girl because she sits here and draws birds. The way I first got the idea for this novel was actually in a bookstore. I was with my father, who is a voracious reader. He reads a book a day, so has lots of great ideas, and he's a great person to bounce ideas off of. And we're walking through the books and we're talking about how as parents we have all these obsessions that we give to our kids, whether they like them or not. And so what happens if a kid doesn't like the obsession? And I turned to my father and I said, so what if you had a kid who lived at the zoo and he feels like he was born the wrong species? And he laughed, and I thought, there's a good idea. I had so much fun writing the character of Whit. He's just a neat kid. He's smart and he's funny, but he's also really lonely. His parents here at the zoo, they love the animals so much that he often gets overlooked. They are so exciting and he's not, or at least that's the way he feels. So the bird girl comes along and changes his life. And one of the first things he tells the bird girl is that his favorite animal is the giraffe. He loves the giraffes for a number of reasons. He loves their long eyelashes, and he loves their tongues and how they eat. He loves that they don't stink like many of the other zoo animals, and most of all, he loves that they're quiet. They don't make a sound. In fact, one time when I was here at the zoo recently this summer, we rode the train and we came around the bend to see the giraffes, and they started galloping. They were galloping just like they were on the savannah. All you heard was hooves. You didn't hear any other sound. It was amazing. It was just a neat moment. So Whit has been a great character to write about, certainly inspired by my brothers and by my own kids and by my own life. One of Stella's favorite birds to draw is the flamingo. And Stella is an interesting character. She's based on someone I knew in real life. Much like Whit, I grew up in a very sheltered environment. I was well loved, and so when I went out into the world and met people who were different than me, it was often confusing, and I didn't know what to do with the fact that maybe these people didn't have the same experience as I did. So that is much of what the book is about. It's about Stella and Whit's friendship and how they kind of overcome their differences and find similarities. One of the main storylines in Don't Feed the Boy features the elephant named Millie. Now, we don't have any female elephants here at the Birmingham Zoo, but we do have 3 bull elephants here in the exhibit called Trails of Africa. Millie in the book is the elephant that you meet on the cover. The illustrations are done by the lovely, talented Stephanie Gragan. Whit and Stella have many adventures in the book, and one of their adventures is on this carousel. They spend a whole night here, and they tell secrets, and it really cements their friendship. So I wanted to tell you a secret about something about writing this book, and I want to talk about research. When I started my research, I went first to zookeeper diaries like this one, Dr. Fisher's Life on the Ark. And I went through looking for any information that I thought might be interesting to kids and that might add texture to my story. And I used this recipe box to collect my information. Inside are all these index cards with little bits of data that I collected. On this one, it says page 172, elephants will learn to stand still for medical procedures for up to an hour. They only require a steady supply of treats, such as monkey chow. And monkey chow is just like dog chow, except for monkeys, and it turns out that elephants love it. The barn plays a very important role in Whit's story. I can't tell you everything that happens here because it would give too much away, but I want to tell you why I chose the barn for these happenings. There are lots of nooks and crannies in a barn. There's lots of hidden places, lots of places kids can hide, so that might happen in the story. And also, people tend to have a very warm, safe, nostalgic feeling about barns, which makes them the perfect place for bad things to happen. I'm often asked if I have any writing advice to share with other writers. And while writing is an intensely personal thing and there's not many things that go across the board, I can tell you one thing that I think works for everybody, and that is to go out and live a life worth writing about. That means go to zoos, talk to people, talk to 93-year-olds and 3-year-olds, and take a trip and take a walk and go to the zoo.